Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack. April 19th, 1692 was a very busy day in Salem Village. Let's get right to it.
And let's go see what those judges were up to. John Hathorne and Jonathan Corwin. They traveled from their homes in Salem Town to Ingersoll's Ordinary in the center of Salem Village, a trip of 5 to 6 miles.
Magistrates examined Giles Cory, Bridget Bishop, Mary Warren, and Abigail Hobbs. By examined, we mean they were interrogated in public, in front of all their community and accusers, including the afflicted ones who are raucous today.
Hathorne and Corwin appointed both Ezekiel Cheever and Samuel Parris to take notes of the examinations.
The court examined Giles first, then Abigail, then Mary, and finally Bridget.
And the youngest two of these individuals, Abigail and Mary, confessed to witchcraft, while Giles Cory and Bridget Bishop maintained their innocence throughout the hearings and would hold to that position until their deaths.
After the examinations were over, the testimony of witnesses was recorded. This is what we will focus on today. For more on those examinations, listen to our weekly podcast that just released yesterday on the Thing About Salem Witch Trials podcast.
In a deposition against the Corys and John Procter today, Benjamin Gould claimed that on April 6th, so just a couple weeks ago, the specters of Giles Cory and his wife Martha appeared by the side of Benjamin's bed, stared at him a while, and went away, at which point he felt 2 pinches in his side.
On another occasion, Benjamin has seen Giles with John Procter. That time, he had so much pain in his foot that it was 2 or 3 days before he could put his shoe on.
Priscilla Chub, aged about 31, said that last winter she was talking to Abigail Hobbs about Abigail's wicked carriages and disobedience to her father and mother, when Abigail said she did not care what anybody said to her, for she had seen the devil and made a covenant or bargain with him.
In a deposition, Elizabeth Hubbard stated that Abigail Hobbs had afflicted her before she was examined, but it was during the examination when Elizabeth saw Abigail Hobbs or her appearance most grievously afflict and torment Mercy Lewis, Mary Walcott, and Ann Putnam Jr.
Elizabeth, or Betty, as she was sometimes referred to, declared that once Abigail began to confess, she stopped hurting the afflicted persons altogether.
In her deposition, 18-year-old Margaret Knight said that Abigail Hobbs and her stepmother, Deliverance, were at Margaret's father's house about a year ago. Abigail asked, "Margaret, are you baptized?" Margaret said, "Yes."
Then Abigail said, "My mother is not baptized, but I will baptize her." Immediately, Abigail got her hand wet and sprinkled some water in her stepmom's face as she said, "I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost."
In Mercy Lewis's deposition, she stated that the day before yesterday, so April 17th, that she saw the apparition of Abigail Hobbs, the daughter of William Hobbs, come and afflict me by pinching and almost choking me, urging me to write in her book. And so she continued hurting of me by times till the 19th of April, being the day of her examination, but as soon as she began to confess, she left off hurting me.
And this thing of the afflicted people becoming well once the supposed witch confessed becomes a trend that we'll see throughout the summer of 1692, when confessions become common, particularly from the Andover accused.
I'm seeing a pattern that the benefit to a confession was actually for the afflicted, not for the confessors.
Right. Yeah, the afflicted got relief. The confessors, what did they get out of it? They still got to go to jail. They still eventually got tried.
Sisters Lydia and Elizabeth Nichols testified that about a year and a half ago, they asked Abigail Hobbs how she dares lie out at nights in the woods alone.
Abigail said she was not afraid of anything, for she had sold herself body and soul to the old boy.
Now, about 2 weeks ago, Abigail and her stepmom, Deliverance, visited the Nichols home, and while the man and woman of the house were away, Abigail began to be rude and to behave herself unseemly. Lydia told her she wondered why she was not ashamed to behave that way.
According to Lydia, Abigail told her to hold her tongue or else she would raise all the folks thereabouts. Then Abigail said, "Look, there's old Nick or old Cratton sitting over the bedhead."
Then Deliverance Hobbs said that she little thought to have been the mother of such a daughter.
17-year-old afflicted person Mary Walcott, daughter of Salem Village militia captain Jonathan Walcott, testified that she saw Abigail Hobbs' specter on April 14th. The specter afflicted her by pinching and almost choking, of course, urging Mary to write in the devil's book. Such afflictions had happened again and again since that initial attack, but Mary was well once Abigail began to confess. I was just wondering, how they managed to stay in the courtroom and be calm while Abigail's confessing, even though they know that they're not halfway through the examinations yet, and Mary Warren and Bridget Bishop are still going to come in there and presumably afflict them all over again. Finally, Elizabeth Hubbard made a statement against Mary Warren and Bridget Bishop. Elizabeth was the niece of Salem Village physician William Griggs's wife, Rachel. She claimed that Mary Warren brought her the book, and she, Elizabeth, said, I won't.
The Warren apparition said, If you set your hand to the book, you shall be well. For I did so, and I am well.
And Elizabeth said, I will not.
Then Mary told her she would never be well.
Elizabeth said, I will not if I am never well. Oh, you wicked witch, Mary Warren, why will you do so?
As Elizabeth wrote her statement, Mary Warren and Bridget Bishop appeared to her. Bridget was wearing only her shift.
But Elizabeth didn't record anything about what those two did on that visit. They just apparently showed up and said hello or something. So check out our weekly podcast, as we mentioned earlier, the thing about the Salem witch trials, because our latest episode tells the stories of the examinations of April 19th, 1692.